Hey guys, how's it going? Hewitt here, and I'm here with a new segment for the blog. So, this segment is called Will It Play? And it's basically a segment where I'm going to be suggesting an kind of outlandish idea for an MMO or any type of RPG, or any type of game rather. Um, and you're going to tell me whether you think this is going to work and whether you think it's going to play. So, first one, riddle me this. Now, you know the basic kind of RPG structure where you start off at level 1, you start off very basic equipment, not doing much damage, and as you level up, it gets harder and harder to level, you get better equipment, and you fight stronger and meaner looking monsters. Now, what if we flipped all that in the game? So you started off with max level. So you're the max level character, you're OP as hell, and now you're going off into the field with, let's just say, for my imagining it, now you can suggest otherwise. I think it would be cooler if you start off with basic equipment at level, whatever it is, at the max level. Let's say it's 100 for this situation. So you start off basic equipment, you go out in the field, find all these monsters, and you find these huge things that you would just only see in the end game of any game. Go up to it, you smack it once, it dies in one hit. And now every time you kill a monster, you actually lose EXP. So however much EXP it has, let's just say end game monsters have, they give a bunch of EXP. So you lose a bunch of EXP when you kill them. So every time you lose EXP, you de-level. And now your equipment has a level cap, so it has a level range. So you can only use this equipment if you're within this level range. So as you're killing these monsters and you're starting off with this puny stuff, basic sword, basic shield, you lose EXP, and then eventually you get to a point where you have to move on to the next tier of weapons and gear, which gradually looks cooler and cooler. But at the same time, the weapons and equipment get weaker and weaker. And that's the same with your skills. Your skills go from kind of not that great. You start off with no skills, and you earn skills as you de-level. They look cooler and cooler. They get, the AoEs get larger and larger, but they get weaker and weaker. Just imagine this. You're going out in the field. Okay, so let me preface by saying that, the mobs at the beginning of the game, which is end game because you're at the highest level, look huge and strong and badass because those are the end game mobs. And as you get lower and lower in level, the monsters start looking weaker and weaker and weaker. They have less health, they have less EXP. They give you less EXP, and they have less defense. So you progress weaker, 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 weaker. And now you're end game. You have all this shiny equipment because equipment looks cooler and cooler as you get lower level. And you take your huge hammer and it's like, oh, I'm going to beat this freaking snail up. You smack it, you do 1 damage. That's part of kind of the comedic effect of all of it. So yeah. So the premise of the game is you start at max level and you're trying to race to the bottom. Race to the lowest level. And how balance would work in this game is, because you're losing levels, you're losing, and the equipment, there's only a range that you can use it at. You start off with this really, really strong equipment, but as you lose levels, you start to not be able to use that equipment, and you have to get new equipment to match your level range. Now, what happens is your equipment gets weaker and weaker and weaker is how you progress through the game. That way, you're not just grinding on really strong mobs forever and just losing a bunch of levels really quickly. You're going to be progressing by killing weaker and weaker and weaker mobs till eventually you get to the weakest mobs in the game, and that'll be end game. So imagine like a full-on raid with like 6, 7, 8 people. It's like, oh, we're going out to this with all your shiny gear just to beat up this little slime, which it's going to be hard to take down because you're going to be, let's just say end game, you're at level 1. You're going to do no damage to anything. And that's kind of the premise of the game. as you go progress through the game, you get lower and lower level, you get weaker and weaker and weaker, but your equipment and skills looks stronger and flashier. Do you think that this type of game will work? And now I know that I just kind of outlined the basic premise, and there's probably a lot of holes to the system, which I could definitely think of something, but just for this video, what do you think? Do you think that this game will play? Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this idea. I think it'll be kind of cool to kind of mix things up, from the norm, because everything nowadays, it's all the same. You're leveling up, you're grinding on mobs, going to raids with these high level monsters in endgame. It's all the same. Can we throw a wrench into that formula and change it up and make a great game out of it? Yet again, let me know in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you want more of this content. And also go check out my blog. Most of you probably came from my blog, but if you didn't, go check it out. It's linked in the description below. It's called the Objectively Subjective blog. So until next time, guys, I will see you later. Peace out. Peace out.